I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
The sleeper has awakened!
Hello and welcome to Mad About Superheroes 80s Science Fiction Rewind. Today we hit the rewind button back between the years 1983 and 1984 for a fantasy-filled double bill, featuring the third installment in the Star Wars saga, Return of the Jedi, created by writer-director George Lucas, as well as the original film adaptation of Frank Herbert's sprawling epic, Dune. It's the Rebel Alliance versus the Evil Empire, and House Atreides versus House Harkonnen. I really enjoy watching a genre-specific double feature. I can't count how many times I've rewatched Dune and Return of the Jedi back to back. Both Paul and Luke have similar paths, and that's not a coincidence. The Frank Herbert Dune books were just one of the many inspirations for George Lucas's Star Wars. Although Luke's journey to Jedi Knight is fleshed out over 3 films, while Paul's journey to prophesize Messiah is truncated through the course of one single film. The desert planet in both films is also a glaring comparison. My enthusiasm for science fiction films can be traced back to my very early love of comic book superheroes. In the case of both Dune and Return of the Jedi, both protagonists have powers far beyond those of mortal men. I also really like the black outfits that both Paul and Luke wear in both films. And every Chuck Norris movie fan knows, good guys wear black. Dune director David Lynch actually turned down George Lucas's offer to direct Return of the Jedi, and instead agreed to direct Dune under famous producer Dino De Laurentiis, a choice he would come to regret. Though the Dune IP predates Star Wars, George Lucas's sci-fi box office smash hit created a pop culture phenomenon, and film studios were scrambling to replicate the success of Star Wars. Thus, Dune was greenlit into production. De Laurentiis wanted a 2-hour cut of the movie, while Lynch wanted to stay true to the Frank Herbert books, which couldn't be restrained in a 2-hour time frame.
On Dune, I started selling out even in the script phase, knowing I didn't have final cut, and I sold out. So it was a slow dying the death and a terrible, terrible experience.
Return of the Jedi had its behind-the-scenes issues as well, although nowhere severe as Dune's production problems. Harrison Ford thought his iconic character Han Solo should make the ultimate sacrifice for the rebel cause and go out in a blaze of glory. But Lucas refused, and the decision was also made, for better or worse, to make Princess Leia Luke's sister.
The Force is strong in my family. My father has it. I have it. And my sister has it.
I'm your sister. I'm your sister.
Oh, you're my sister!
Oh!
Paul also has a sister destined to follow in her brother's footsteps.
Kill this child. She's an abomination. Kill her. Get out of my mind!
No matter the behind-the-scenes drama, in my opinion, none of it comes through in the final products. They are both incredibly visually stimulating films. Return of the Jedi continues the gold standard of special effects for sci-fi established in Star Wars in 1977. Dune's effects are equally impressive, yet much darker, grittier, and sometimes grotesque in approach. Speaking of grotesque, the evil Baron Vladimir Harkonnen is nightmare fuel. I saw both Dune and Return of the Jedi in theaters when I was 9-10 years old, and Baron Harkonnen, played by Kenneth McMillan, freaked me out. In comparison, Return of the Jedi had Jabba the Hutt, but as grotesque as he is, he's just a giant puppet, not as creepy as the Baron. On the other hand, Fade, portrayed by rock star Sting, is a whole different side of evil. While Fade and Baron Harkonnen are as evil incarnate as Emperor Palpatine, Darth Vader has an awesome redemption arc. I love a good hero's journey, and Luke Skywalker's character development over the course of 3 films is by far my favorite. A close second is Linda Hamilton's transformation in the first 2 Terminator films as Sarah Connor. Luke goes from simple farm boy to impulsive rebel soldier into a disciplined Jedi Knight, and it's very impressive. Equally impressive is Mark Hamill's performance as Luke Skywalker. Hamill is of course backed up by an incredible supporting cast, with standout performances by Ian McDiarmid as the delightfully devilish Emperor Palpatine, and the 3 actors that collectively breathed life into Darth Vader Anakin Skywalker. The man inside the suit, David Prowse, the face of Anakin Skywalker, Sebastian Shaw, and the voice of Darth Vader, the legendary James Earl Jones. Paul Atreides, played exceptionally well by Kyle MacLachlan, experiences a similar expedited hero's journey and is also backed up by an incredible cast, including standout performances from Brad Dourif as Peter de Vries and Patrick Stewart as Gurney Halleck, just a few years before his iconic role as Captain Jean-Luc Picard on Star Trek The Next Generation. During the early 80s, Star Wars was also the gold standard for action figures, and Return of the Jedi continued the line of figures based on characters in the film. And though Dune also had a line of toys to coincide with their movie, unfortunately, they were overshadowed, like many others, by Kenner's Star Wars toy line. The Empire Strikes Back is often regarded as the best film in the Star Wars saga, and I objectively agree. But Return of the Jedi is my personal favorite. It was the first Star Wars movie I saw in a theater. I collected the action figures and bought the Marvel Comics adaptation. I was all in with Return of the Jedi. Marvel Comics also put out an adaptation of Dune, which I did not pick up on its initial release, but I managed to acquire it a few years later while buying back issues. Though I spent a few minutes going over their similarities, Dune and Return of the Jedi also have more than a few differences. Return of the Jedi was a huge box office hit, but Dune was critically panned upon its release. Although over time it gained a huge cult following. They both have unique action-adventure spectacle. Jedi has the speeder bike scene, and Dune has the sandworms. Return of the Jedi has the most iconic sci-fi weapon ever conceived, the lightsaber, while Dune has the shield and the weirding module. Return of the Jedi is a much more streamlined sci-fi fantasy good versus evil tale, while Dune has those elements as well, yet explores more headier political, social, and religious themes. When I initially saw Dune at the age of 10, all those themes went over my head, but I still enjoyed the visuals, the sporadic action, and Paul's journey. I obviously highly recommend a double feature of Dune and Return of the Jedi, post haste. If you enjoyed the content, please like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, thanks so much for letting your geek flags fly with Mad About Superheroes.